And today we are excited to be joined by Jamie Pate. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you so much.
We're so excited to have you. Jamie is a paper crafter who can truly do it all. Whether it's cards, scrapbooks, planners, or memory decks, Jamie has a project that you can learn from. And fun fact, before we jump into our episode today, this is actually the second time that we are recording this podcast, right?
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah, so we kind of got a warm-up version before, but we
Yes.
had some technical difficulties. And we decided, we knew that Jamie was coming in here in January to Scrapbook.com, and we thought, wow, she's going to be on site. Let's go ahead while she's filming some episodes for our channel. Let's do the podcast in person. So this is actually even more fun to have you here.
Yes, it is. It's quite a treat for sure.
Yeah, we are excited. So you just got done filming a series for us, and we're so excited to see it. It's kind of for paper crafter for beginners. Is that right?
Basically, yes.
But I promise there will be tips and tricks that everyone will want to learn from, because if they've seen your work, it is gorgeous. I love your style. Tell us a little bit about what you just got done filming here.
Exactly what you said. It is some paper crafting for beginners, some card making, some adding a little bit of extra something to a page when you're not really sure what to do. And it's building a page from the bottom up. And I just try to lay it out just as doable as possible.
Yeah.
Because I just think people have much more fun doing that for sure. So,
well, that's neat. And if anyone has seen your projects that are uploaded in the gallery, again, if you want inspiration, go look at Jamie's gallery. Tell us a little bit about that. You've been uploading since 2013.
that's what I hear.
That is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, you've got I think it's over 1,500 projects now.
I haven't counted. I didn't know that.
Yes, I just
That
could
is-
scroll endlessly on your page. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think that's what the whole gallery is like, right? You can find yourself just scrolling on that page again and again. And there's so much inspiration to be found there. And a lot of times, I know for myself, I'll see a new product or I'll see somebody having used a product. I'm like, oh, I want to go check that out. So I go to Scrapbook.com and go look for that item in the store. And then you have project after project that has been posted by papercrafters all over the world, literally. And you get some really insightful ideas on how to use a product, or even, I never thought of that. And so you're just inspired to play and have a go at it. So gallery is a must uploading activity for everybody. Just be willing to put yourself out there and upload those and share your inspiration with other people.
Yeah.
We all love it.
Everyone loves it. And I also love that, like, when I'm looking at yours, I can click and see what products you used. So those are the ones I can go, because I'm a good copier. So I like to copy what you're working on. So
Right. I
super
hear that.
fun. But it's a great community on the gallery as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, there's a lot of encouragement. There's opportunity to give cheers. I love that. I mean, because don't we all need a cheer right now?
Right.
So people are very generous with sharing their appreciation for what someone else posted. And I just go in there, like, make it a daily habit. Just spend a couple of minutes in there and just go see what someone has uploaded, because it's constantly being refreshed and there's constantly brand new things on there to look at. So yes, go give a cheer.
Super fun. Well, good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the crafting world.
Well, that started a long, long time ago in a land far away. I had somebody give me a Creative Memories 12 by 12 pre-made page. And I took it as a gift, and I already had the mats on there for photos. And so I just added my son's photo, who was 2 at the time. And I said, I really like this. And through the years, my style has evolved a little bit, but it actually then kind of shifted into a lot of card making and stamping. And that is something that when the kids were little, I'd get with a girlfriend, and during nap time, we just get really creative and make cards, or kind of redabble back into scrapbooking a little bit after that. But that has been a creative mainstay of mine for a very long time now. And I love scrapbooking is really my love, because I love telling stories, and I love photography, and I love all the pretty stuff that goes with it.
Yes.
So that's kind of in a nutshell how that got started as a young mom. And actually, when I was very young, I kind of dabbled as a school-age girl in hand lettering, calligraphy, had a calligraphy kit.
Yeah.
Had a camera at a very young age. It was like Kodak Insta camera. It's like super simple and basic, right? So I've always had some kind of hand. I've always had some kind of hand in that from a very young age, and it's just stayed with me.
That's wonderful. And you really do it all. Like I said at the beginning, you don't just have one little focus. You've done it all, from card making to layouts to, your tags are beautiful. Your planners and everything that you put out just is inspirational, I think. So
thank you. Yeah, I do dabble in a lot of things for sure. I just love it all. I think they all play into each other. Somehow a scrapbook page can be evolved into a card or even a tag, or you just don't have a lot of time to make something. Well, then play with the tag for a few minutes. Be creative, at least sometime in your day. And tags are a great way to do that. Then you can throw the tag in your planner because that was a creative moment in your life and you want to record it. And it can be part of the story, even just the simplicity of a layered tag like that. So yeah, absolutely. I guess I do a little bit of everything.
You do. You're definitely creative, because I love the videos that you've uploaded even for Scrapbook.com where, you take a die and we see it used one way, but then you have a totally different idea on how to use that. So
that's true. Yeah. Because there's, I love that. I love let's take these a little bit farther, and what are some fun, unique ways we can, can we make a stencil out of a die?
Yeah.
And so I'll do that. So yeah, I guess I do that a little bit. You are not wrong.
Well, let's go back. You mentioned the importance of telling your story. Why are you so passionate about that?
Telling your story. One of the things about telling our story is that it leaves evidence of our existence. And we all experience time just flies. I mean, we barely all can remember what we had for breakfast yesterday. And so taking the time to take a photo and to document that, write about it, tell about it, you're kind of putting a stamp in time. It's like a time stamp, right? And it doesn't matter if that is told in a traditional journaling way. It doesn't matter if you bullet point your thoughts. I hear a lot of times from people, it's like, well, I'm not a good writer. It doesn't matter. It's for you. It's for you to remember. You do it for yourself. Storytelling passes on a bit of a legacy, if you will, to those who come behind and read it and look at your pictures and see that point in time as well. So it's something to leave behind as well. So that's sort of encompasses what storytelling is to me and why I think it's so important.
Yeah, I love that. And I see a lot of your memory planning that you do as well.
Yeah.
I think it's important too. I'm a big fan of that as well. And I think when you take the time to record something or document, it's like you get to relive that moment and appreciate it. And I don't know, it becomes a little bit more permanent.
And to that point, now that we are redoing this podcast, when we did this the first time, it was early in December. And I didn't share this at the time, but things were kind of just hop skipping along fine in our family at that time. And as I took some time here in the last week to work on some memory planner pages from December, it really struck me because within those 4 weeks of time, my mom has been diagnosed with leukemia. And as I look at what we were doing or a picture that was taken early in December, and you are just struck with, wait, how did we go from there to now we are in a completely, and you forget that you actually had that moment before.
Yeah.
That moment before was so important. It meant more to me, obviously. And it should always mean more to us. But even that is its own story. It's like, wow, you are taking for granted what is in your life.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea when it's not going to be there anymore. And that might sound a little melodramatic. I don't think it is. I don't think the last couple of years we've come through that's a thing to take lightly at all. It's very serious. So it resonated with me in a very real way just this last month, even that no, everything matters. Everything I can write down matters. Even if I go back and reprocess it at some point and take the time to read that again, it means something to me brand new and fresh at that time.
Absolutely. Well, we wish the best for your mom.
Thank you.
So sorry she's having to go through that. Well, what advice? You've got some great tips for our listeners when it comes to documenting their story and maybe how they can get started or what they can focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one that you have centers around the photos.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Boy, just remember to take the photo.
Yeah.
There's like way too many. You're like me, right?
Yes.
I just completely forgot to take that photo for whatever reason. I heard very recently that we never regret taking too many photos. That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can weed through and edit out what we don't need, but just remember to take the photo. They are very important. We've always heard, a photo says 1,000 words, and it's more than words. It's like emotion.
Yeah.
It is just keeping time still for a moment. And not that we want to live in our past. It's not that. It's that our past is what brings us to who we are now. It just gives us clear understanding of who we actually are right now. So photos are very important. And photo organizing is very important too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one thing to take the photo, but if we're not getting it off our camera or we're not getting it off our phone and it's just sitting in there, it doesn't really do us much good. And so that's the beauty of a scrapbooker, is that they take the photo, they print the photo, and then it gets to be displayed in a very creative way.
Yeah.
And so organizing is super important. And I do try to keep them pretty organized on my computer in such a way that I can just pull it by date and tell a story.
We'll talk about that for just a second.
Certainly.
So how do
What
you
do I know?
organize? So do you do it by folders by month and year, or or by people, or what? How do you organize yours?
It starts by year, and then within the year is each month. And then I keep it within each week. So week 1, would be January 2nd through January 7th, whatever we just finished here. Sometimes I tag my photos, especially if there's people in them, because I want to be able to just go do a search and find so-and-so real quick. So not always, but even just having year and month and week will give a person such clarity. They will, no, I remember when that photo was taken. Here, let me go look for it. That really is helpful. And I encourage that a lot. And then if you do tag, that's bonus for sure. So that's not how everybody does it. It's just what works for me.
Yeah. Well, and I loved what you said about the photos, and it takes you back to that memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a terrible memory. And so when I even look back through my children's younger photos when they were 2 or 3 years old, I can be taken back to that exact place and maybe how I was feeling just by looking at that photo. But if I didn't have that photo, I probably wouldn't remember that happened. Like an everyday type thing. I wouldn't remember that.
Right.
So
not a birthday,
right.
Not some sort of holiday, but an everyday photo is what you're talking about.
And that's what you're so good at, is documenting the everyday and journaling what you're thinking about. And what is your process for that when you're kind of doing your documenting?
What's my process for that? That's a good question.
Which I guess this goes into your next tip too, about documenting.
Pretty much, because as you were saying that, what brought to mind is when you talked about photographing the everyday, there's something that I have basically taught myself to do, and that is to look for the simple beauty in the day. And it can be as simple as my bouquet of flowers on my table, or the way the light is shining through a tree. And again, we don't need to take these and do this because we think someone's going to be impressed by that. It's like what you see and what you capture. And it probably won't be what anybody else captures. It's for you. It could be my cup of coffee.
Right.
It really, I just see so much artistry and beauty in those kinds of things. And it really does drive me. Gratitude is a very important part of, and again, something I've taught myself to do. And gratitude can then prompt a story. It can be a real random, so thankful to whatever the rest of that sentence might be. Every one of those little sentences can prompt a story. It's so powerful when you think about it that way. And again, to those of my friends who say, well, I don't have anything to talk about. I don't have anything to share. Like, yes, you do. It's all around you. It is all around you. It might take a little bit of practice. Maybe write one thank you a day. One thing you're grateful for a day.
How many do you do? Do you do a certain number a day?
I do. I'm up to 5 a day.
5. Okay.
Yes. So I don't know how many that is in a year. I can't do the math that well, but it is a habit that is in my life, and I have to do it. I have to show up to that.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone. Perspective in life really does come from gratitude and being thankful, instead of looking at so much that we might not have or so much that might not be right in our life. You you can find something to be thankful for.
Absolutely. It's therapeutic, I think. And it also it's a mind shift where you find what you're looking for. So if you're looking for the negative, you're going to find it.
Yes.
And if you look for the blessings, they're there.
You're right.
It just changes that perspective. I love that.
Yes, I agree with you completely.
All right. Tip number 3, keep finding yourself and what creates excitement for you. So how do you do that?
How do I do that? Maybe that's the whole why I'm doing everything. I keep just kind of moving from one little thing to the other. I think sometimes we can play it kind of safe. And there's 2 sides to that. We can play it really safe and we can do the thing we really want to do. And we have found our niche and we know how to do it. And it works for us just so well. I think it's important to kind of push ourselves into like some other little area. Part of the paper crafting for beginners, I share some foiling techniques as well. A lot of people don't know what foiling is, or they might have bought a ink machine and haven't taken it out of the box.
They're just intimidated by it.
They could be scared to death, and that you could be. And so I love for myself to kind of push myself. Okay, I'm not real comfortable with this. Let's try it. And so I want other people to do the same thing as well. And so hopefully they'll get some tips from that. A lot of times when we don't really know what to do, just cut things out. Just stamp some phrases, make a decorative border, just something, just kind of always be in the creative flow and continue to go to the gallery and get inspiration. See what somebody has done and say, okay, I can do it my way and find your way to do it. It's so affirming to us to discover that and to create that and to make that. And gosh, what opportunity we have to do that and just be inspired to do that. So that's something that I think is important, that people keep finding themselves and keep just like, hey, what's the next little thing? And I have a lot of people that I talk to in social media that are like, I never thought about it that way. Oh, then I'm so glad that I shared that. And then I want them to do the same thing. Now you share what you have done and see who is inspired by you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is what you do so well on your social media. I love that. And I think just that variety, like if you are kind of in a slump where you don't know what to work on, just even leaving some products out where you can play, just to kind of, like you said, just start cutting or start stamping or just start the process and see where it goes. And not have such heavy expectations on ourselves of we need to complete something or we can just play.
Or it needs to be perfect.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Very good. Well, that goes into number 4, which is stop comparing yourself.
Yes, boy, we can really... we need to have that emblazoned. Well, stop comparing. It really, we've heard it that comparison's a thief of joy. It really will take our joy. And it kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier. If we're comparing ourselves, we're not being very grateful for where we are in our own journey, and we're resenting that somehow and thinking someone else is better than us. And, when people put their projects out there, be it a layout or a planner page or a card or whatever, I know so many of these people, they're not doing it because, well, can you see what I did? It's like they just want to share.
Right.
And they want you to do and be able to see that you can do as well. So in your whole journey of not comparing yourself, leave some room to give yourself permission just to play and give yourself permission to just try new things. And if you don't put it out there on social media, that's fine. You don't have, there's no one that says you have to hit click, make sure it gets posted. You don't have to do that either. But I just want to encourage people, like, don't stop because you see that somebody has done something and, well, I could never do that. Yes, you can. You can make it yours. Yeah. Make it yours. Copy somebody all you want. It will never look exactly like how that other person made. I guarantee. I've tried. Yeah, it's like, same. I can never be like that person because I'm not that person. I'm me. And I'm going to do something just a little different, or I'm going to have a different photo or whatever. So copy away, but don't compare.
Right. Don't
think you have to be where you've not lived that person's life to be where they are. Yeah. And you might not want to. You might not want to live their life. Yeah. So, that is such a big message. We have to continue to share with ourselves and our kids as well.
Yes, really good. And just enjoy the process. Like, you don't have to compare, because if you're enjoying the process of creating, then that's where the joy should come from, and not that end result, like comparing yourself. So I love that.
I agree with you.
Okay, number 5, pressure is not inspiration.
Yes. I shared that later in the year. I think it was a December album, and that really resonated with a lot of people. It doesn't matter if it's December album or whatever it is. I think there can be a pressure that we have to do a thing and we have to keep up with doing it every day. And I just really was hoping to share, and I did it myself. I'm like, I don't have this particular album's need to look like this at the end of whatever amount of days. And I wanted to share that with other people as well. Find what you want this to look like. Find what story you want to tell and tell that one.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be pressured by whatever you think someone else is doing. You might not be able to keep up. You might be able to completely do even more and exceed your own expectations. We don't know. But my message was just to really just take that pressure off.
Yeah.
And so, again, something we should be reminding ourselves of every day for sure. There's so many options out there of going about a planner or a mini album. There's so much inspiration. Just enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Just enjoy that for what it is. Like one day I just, for whatever reason, just decided to post a story of my inspiration board. And I didn't really think much of it. It's just like, oh, there's a picture. I'm just going to post that. And people loved it. And it just made me think too. It's like, see, guys, just make stuff and put it up for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
That was really the message that kind of came from that. And like this, and to me, it's like, this really wasn't anything special. It's just something I had fun making and put it up on a board. And that was a lot of fun. It kind of blew up and people loved that. Another way of being inspired though, is to go back through a scrapbook and see something that I've done in a previous time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
I should try that again and recreate it. And again, just like if you follow someone else and you want to make their page, you're not going to make that exactly the same
one,
either.
right.
You're going to discover a whole new creative flow. It's so much fun. So it's kind of like when we have a Pinterest board and we just keep putting pins in a board, yet we keep looking for the pins, and like we have a whole board that's already been curated. We should just go look at it and like be inspired and do something. I forget. I'm like, Jamie, you already have a whole bunch of inspiration. Just go look at it and just make something from even your own inspiration is a big deal. The thing too about pressures on inspiration, we as scrapbookers and papercrafters, we have a really special opportunity when we do get the time to craft that story. I call it kind of meditative scrapbooking, where I get the opportunity to tell a story. Maybe it's about a singular person in my life. And it is a time of like a prayerful response to maybe whatever's going on in their life. It's this etched out time where I can just think about them. It becomes a real slowdown in my life of just focusing on a particular person outside of myself.
Yeah.
And giving them some mental time.
Yeah.
And giving me some meditative space to just kind of slow down and think about that. And I've been doing that for a long time. And when I kind of get busy and I'm not scrapbooking as often as I'd like to, I really miss that. And I find that it's something in my life that is missing. It's actually missing that time. And I hear that a lot as well. Oh, I'm so behind, or, oh, I have so much I want to do. And I think what that longing is just the time to actually do what they love to do. So I can identify with that quite a bit. And so I love that. I love that aspect of it. And no one could have told you that was part of the process until you actually started doing it. And I realized, wow, this is really good for my soul.
Yeah.
To interact with this person in this kind of a way, if that makes sense.
Oh, it absolutely does. I love how you describe that with the meditation, because it really is like a meditative process when you're in that flow state and you're thinking about them. And I think it ties in your gratitude as well, because you're grateful for that experience or that person or that moment. And I think that's why this hobby is so great for us, just emotionally, psychologically, everything else, because we're creating, it's helping our mood, but it's also helping us reflect through that storytelling and to really appreciate the whole process.
Yeah, beautifully said. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what are you working on right now? Is there anything in particular that you are working on this month, for example?
This month, it's kind of a reboot, getting back to basic storytelling after a busy holiday season. And I've started doing that a little bit, and I'm glad to return to it. Even though I have a lot of stories I haven't told. To coin a phrase from Allie Edwards, our stories never expire.
Yeah.
So it's never too late to ever get those on the page. I think something I even have posted this week is from Easter of last year. And I'm like, I'm completely okay. It's like, it just doesn't matter. I'm completely okay with that. Rebooting my planner. And I love that. Just that complete fresh start and new goals and new ideas and bringing what was learned from the last year into this year and having it there on a page for me in a documented form. It's just a wonderful way to document is with a planner. And so that's kind of what I'm working on right now in terms of the papercrafting world.
That's so fun. And tell our listeners where they can find you in the papercrafting world and on social media.
You can find me on my blog, which is just jamiepate.com. And from there, you can pretty much go to any of my outlets. So I have a YouTube channel, and you can search that with Jamie Pate Designs. I'm on Instagram, Jamie Pate, and Facebook, Jamie Pate Designs on there as well. So I don't think I'm too hard to find, but maybe.
And Jamie Pate in the gallery at Scrapbook.com.
Jamie Pate in the gallery with everybody else. There's more than just me in there, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's true. But you are one of my favorites. Well, that is wonderful. And we appreciate you sharing all of those tips with us today. Very inspirational. You always are, whether I'm just visually like looking at your work or I hear you in your videos or sharing your story. So thank you.
Thank you.
We do love to close with our question for our guests. That is, what is one of the most meaningful handmade projects you've either created or received?
The most meaningful handmade project that I've ever made have to be my December albums. And to pull those out every year, you almost could just do that and have a lot of story be told. Because that's just like a whole year, And those mean quite a great deal to me. I would need to have those with me for all time to see that progression of life and tradition and celebration.
Yeah. Your family is just lucky and fortunate to have you documenting all of these stories along the way. I mean it. I hope they appreciate it because
maybe someday. Yes.
You do a great job with it.
Thank you.
Well, it has been wonderful to speak with you today. Again, always inspired by you, and we appreciate you coming here in person. This has been so fun.
It is a complete honor to be here and share with you a little bit. Thank you so much.